Brawo. Jestem pod wrażeniem. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
That was pretty awesome.
With me is Jaws from Riot Games. A big round of applause, please. Even CLG is clapping.
You say even CLG is clapping?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, bez przedłużania, without any procrastination, let's welcome to the stage the Russian players, the Russian team. Powitajmy Rosjan, którzy wygrali dopiero mecz. Guys, big round of applause for Moscow 5.
Hey. See you guys again.
And on the other side of the stage, apparently a team so awesome, people are willing to be half naked for it. It's gonna be CLG Europe. All right. Quick show of hands. Ręka do góry. Kto kibicuje M5? Okej, w dół. Ręka do góry. Kto kibicuje CLG? Well, now I guess we know that CLG is the crowd favorite. Guys, why don't you sit down? And we'll have a quick interview with Alex Siege and Froggen from CLG. Jaws, take it away.
How's it going, Alex? Now, M5 versus CLG has turned into quite the rivalry, and they got the best of you guys at DreamHack. How's your team approaching this rematch?
Macie dużą dosyć rywalizację na DreamHacku, zostaliście pokonani. W jaki sposób podchodzicie do tego meczu?
Ready to rock.
I think that's the best answer yet. So, Froggen, when landing against Alex Siege, do you do anything differently than you would against other mid laners?
Kiedy grasz w linii na Alexicia, czy musisz robić coś innego niż byś robił przeciwko komukolwiek innemu przeciwnikowi?
I'm taking a few more Wraith camps.
He's to the point.
Tak więc mówi, że odpowiedź brzmi: zabijam kilka więcej wiedźm w trakcie meczu. Ale to chyba wszyscy zrozumieli.
Can I answer?
Yeah?
I will take some more wolf camps then.
Okay, well, friendly banter from both players. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jaws. And we will give it to the commentators for this fantastic game. And I do believe that Daniel Klein and Joe Miller and our typical Polish guys here at the cinema.
Thank you very much, Carmack. Interesting questions there, and all interesting answers as well. I have to first of all say, you can now see in the heat of this hall, we brought in a fan, and I've got this whole little Baywatch moment going on where my hair's like, oh. I'm also almost as big as Pamela Anderson as well. But anyway. Let's get into this game because, you know, CLG versus Moscow 5, a game which is, or a rival which is close to my heart. You know, at DreamHack we saw that epic game. Comeback, throw, whatever you want to call it, whichever camp you're kind of sitting in from that point of view. It was a fantastic game, a long game. And then in the final, the best of 3, 2-0 win for CLG, maybe showing us that they are in better form right now. The problem is, from Moscow 5's point of view, in my opinion, is that CLG have been playing in Korea a lot, and they've done very well. And a lot of players that have been over in Korea have said CLG are just on another level right now compared to what they've been on in previously.
M5 have been practicing a lot in online tournaments. They've been in pretty much any tournament that I've seen on Reddit the last couple of weeks. They're entering all of them, which is the right thing to do. That's great practice. But you said it, they were in Korea, which is a completely different training environment. They were in a house with CLG.eu, and apparently they're just scrimming all day long, just non-stop scrimming, or team draft scrims, which are so much fun to watch as well when they stream them. And it's a different setting as well. I mean, it's a completely different environment. And while they may be a little bit out of touch with what is currently considered OP in the EU community, the EU community has no idea about some of these things that they may be bringing with them from Korea, and the pressure just to be in the Asubu, the Champions League, that and to have to go 3-0 in the first day because they were traveling here. They said, we have to travel to Poland. I guess we're just going to have to 3-0 them all on our first day, and they did exactly that. Even that super epic game against CLG.eu, and after that game they had 2 more games. I mean, that's just nerves of steel.
Yeah, they did very well. They looked so good. They looked so good on that Wednesday, was it? I guess. Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah. Before we came here, obviously, this past week, they looked so good, and it's really hard to say who's going to win this one. I mean, I think CLG are going to have the edge, just with the fact that they have been doing this hardcore practicing. I was talking to Snoopy actually yesterday, or this morning. It just feels like yesterday by now. And he was telling me about the whole setup that they've got there in Korea. You guys may have noticed that they're not quite streaming as much, and when they do, it's with their games against CLG.eu. That's because a lot of the Korean teams don't want them streaming their games. Apparently, Azubu Blaze and Frost have a little bit of a thing going on where they send Frost to play against CLG.eu, and then Frost plays against Blaze and shows them all CLG tactics. So from that, you can gather that CLG are in good form and are scaring some of these top Korean teams. But we are into the bans and the picks.
Some of us are. I don't think I am, but it's fine. I think I should be able to jump into the game later on.
Saved yourself there. You forgot to join the game. Luckily, we're not controlling the camera, so
that much we can do about that.
That's a good thing. So let's have a look at these bans already. Yorick is going to be banned out first of all by CLG. Maokai then taken out, and obviously Maokai has been played a lot by Snoopy. Snoopy is one of these junglers that tends to go into these more bruiser type junglers. That's his real strong point, where he feels most comfortable. And whether they're going to be focusing a lot on Snoopy in these bans, we'll have to see. Shen there banned out, which is not really a surprise. I'm still kind of surprised that CLG took it rather than forcing M5 to maybe ban it out. Obviously not part of their game plan. Anivia banned out, which is absolutely no surprise again. Froggen on the other team. Even Froggen himself said that Anivia is actually too strong at the moment. It's like, this can't be right. But, Froggen is known as the Anivia player.
The thing with Anivia is that there's no numbers that you can look at. It's just all the stuff that she brings, the wall and so on. It's just great. And there's a Rice ban as well. I haven't seen a Rice ban in a while, but of course, Alex is a great Rice player, and there finally is the Urgot ban. M5 say, we don't have first pick, so we are going to ban that Urgot out.
Yeah, and we saw in the last game how effective Moscow 5 are with that Urgot. Just don't want to leave him in there. There is Alistair being very popular. Snoopy obviously been training this Alistair in the jungle over in Korea. We've seen it from him more than anything else, I think, statistically today. And up till now, done a good job with it.
Absolutely, yes. And it's just such a strong disruptive jungler. We see the classic M5 bot lane, actually. We see a Nunu Kog'Maw lane there. And the Blood Boil, of course, is so very, very useful on Kog'Maw. Useful on all AD carries, of course, but with the W from Kog'Maw, just that little bit more scary there. All the health burn coming out of it.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be locked in here. So, now again, this Alistair pick, I'm talking about Snoopy in the jungle. That's just a feeling that I have. Up till now, that's where we've seen him most today. Of course, it could be in the hands of Crepo down in the bottom lane as well. But we'll see how that one all goes around. They know what they're going to be up against in that bottom lane, so they can adjust according to that setup that Moscow 5 are throwing their way. What are CLG going to react with from this one? As we said, no Anivia for Froggen to get his hands on.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's of course a lot that's still open. He has been playing a lot of Ari as well. It's a very popular pick in
Froggen's
Korea.
Ari is good.
Yeah, and it's really, really good. Yeah. Oh, actually, we didn't talk about this at all. Malphite was left open. We can hear a little bit of applause in the audience, actually. Wicked, of course, playing a great Malphite in that brother game against CLG.eu, and then Ezreal coming out, which makes me really, really happy. Ezreals, when they played right, can just do so much for the game.
It looks like Moscow 5 are going with their most classic of classic games setups at the moment. Shyvana coming in there, and there is the Ari for the middle, and that's going to be locked in. So CLG going to have the chance to at least counterpick this Ari as best as you can, with Rise out of there as well. Not going to be easy. Maybe a Morgana is something that they want to go for with this one. Get that spell shield in there to stop the charm, and also have the dot binding to lock Ari down. We'll see if that's how they go. It looks like it is going to be this Shyvana. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if it is Shyvana to come into it. Obviously, Moscow 5 really bringing Shyvana into the game, I'd say.
Yep.
She was not even looked at before Moscow 5 came to Kiev from the Intellect Stream Masters and cleaned house with her.
Yes, which was one of these champions that got introduced. People just said, well, she doesn't have any CC, she can't really gank, so why would we pick her in the jungle? And then Moscow 5 came, well, you want to pick her in the jungle because you can clear out your jungle and the enemy jungle, and that's, that's quite useful, actually. The last two picks are now up for CLG.eu. You're going to have to see what they want to put in their support and mid, or possibly in their jungle and mid. Could still be that Alistar goes support, although it'd be very strange because it's particularly Snoopy is such a strong jungle Alistar player, so I would be very surprised if they pick anything else for support. If they don't pick anything else for support right now. The Soraka is open. Soraka Ezreal is a lane that you can play if you want to be safe and if you want to poke a lot. The Sona is probably not going to be picked unless they want to do something really strange where they send Shyvana top and Nunu into the jungle. M5 actually did not pick the Sona this time, now that I mention it. And they go for a very, very strong double AP setup here. Karthus and Rumble. Both of them are going to build Wilds of the Ancients, of course. And just going to be very, very dominating in team fights.
Yeah, this is one of those setups that, sets of picks that CLG have gone for. One of those real curveball pick setups, I'd say. You've got Alistar in there. We know he can be playing in the jungle. You can play him in that bottom lane as a support. Malphite's the same in the jungle, in the top lane. So really, up until these final two picks, Moscow 5 couldn't be sure where these champions were going to end up. Yeah, you can always hazard a guess, but they've gone more for their kind of safe setup. Rumble we saw played a little bit earlier on. We know how strong Rumble is in this Jace patch, actually. And
all right. Yes, actually, sorry about that. I am just talking to the players to make sure that I can get into this game and have a little bit of a vision in myself. Is that really going to be the Pirate as the last pick for Moscow 5 there? Gangplank completely out of favor. And that could be a top lane Gangplank there right now coming out of Moscow 5. That's not something we've seen in the longest time.
It's not something I was expecting at all, to be quite honest with you. I mean, Gangplank, I'm trying to think of what changes he's had recently.
Well,
and I can't tell you. Come on, Daniel, you work for Riot. You can tell me.
He's not been touched recently because he's not been played recently, but he fell out of favor a while ago. I think we did. We must have left him a little bit, but he's just one of these champions that just kind of went away. And for a while, you just mentioned it earlier today in Kiev, he still was one of those really contested picks that everybody wanted to have on the team.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, he fell out of favor a little bit after around that kind of time, and since then he's been left quite well alone, to be quite honest with you. But they're going to go for it this time. I'm interested to see how that's going to be working out against this Rumble as we go forward. Hopefully everything's fixed on your...
and that is actually the 6th game that we see right now with Nunu in it. 66% of the games with Nunu in it.
Up until now, Malphite has been banned in every single game, according to our statistics here.
That is a pretty high ban rate. Yes, we'll have to see how this goes. We are actually loading into the game right now. You can see the lineups there on your screen currently. I don't think you need to see these lineups. If you follow League of Legends at all, you probably know these guys.
Including their real names from, just from memory by now. These guys have been at the top of the scene for a long time in League of Legends history. I guess we can call it a long time by now. But we are going to get into the game. Of course, this is CLG versus Moscow 5. Let's give you a quick rundown of the two teams for CLG. We have Froggen on Carthus, Snoopy on Malphite, Crepo on Alistair, Yellow Pete on Ezreal, and Wicked on Rumble. Over on the other side for Moscow 5, we have Alex on Ari, Gosu Pepper on Nunu, Diamond Prox on Shyvana, Darian on Gangplank, and Genja on Kog'Maw.
And that Nunu Kog'Maw bot lane, we will have to see how it works out, but it is the old classic for M5, of course. It's something that they've shown very, very often they can do very well.
Well, are we going to see any invades here? Currently not looking like it. Invades have not been all that popular recently, and certainly not today from what we've seen. I only seem to remember 2 or 3 maybe throughout the entire course of all these games that we've got to see. You can see the setup from both teams is very defensive. Moscow 5 got the typical line setup, the Arsenal offside trap, as I've called it a few times, and only a few people got a reference, so credit to you if you got that one. And over on the other side, CLG are starting to push up in this bottom lane, and they are there with all 5 players, and this could actually work out really well for them, because Shyvana is starting over on that red buff side of the map. Ari and Gangplank are coming down to have a look here to stick around by these wolves, and this is a very, very interesting start. I think CLG getting a little bit of cold feet there and deciding we're not going to go for it, and we are going to see a lane switch up.
Oh yes, and also let me point out, Nunu has started with boots again, and that's just because Gosu just likes to be so very aggressive, and he's going to use the boots together with the Blood Bowl to make sure he can always get in range for an Ice Blast there onto the enemy's face. And I also think he's going to max that E first. I think that's generally what he does with his Nunu. We're going to have to see how he plays that. It's just so much damage, and you really can't do anything against, because if that Nunu is Bloodboard and has early boots, you know, what are you going to do?
Wow,
Darian is taking blue. What does that remind you of, Joe?
This is a very interesting setup from Moscow 5. I mean, in terms of everything, it makes sense, you know. They've put the top lane. The advantage that you get as blue side is having those golems so close to you in the bottom lane. And actually, we are going to see a bit of a meeting here. Snoopy will have his shield popped as they back away. And, you know, the massive, massive, aggressive invade that Moscow 5 are running right now is pretty insane. Obviously, you've got Nunu who can get in there and invade. Gangplank as well is great at doing that kind of thing. That's why we saw him all the time there. But Darian is going to get caught out of position here in this bottom lane. We can see Snoopy's actually looking in there, but there goes the first blood. Yellow Pete just finishing that one off before Gangplank got to the safety of his turret. And that will be CLG picking that one up. The question is, can they fend off this Moscow 5 counter gank now in the top lane? Obviously, Wicked is alone up there with his Rumble. I wouldn't expect him to step too far out of line, and Shyvana backed away. This is the CBIT Finals versus Dignitas lineup that Moscow 5 are running. Early blue buff on Gangplank to hold a solo lane and a roaming support. That's exactly what Nunu is going to keep doing. Gosu is going to keep running around because Genja should be fine against Wicked by himself there. And this is a strat that we've actually not seen since then. You would have expected a lot of imitators, but it's very, very hard to pull off. And we saw one of the dangers, of course, is that Darian fell really far behind. And when he teleported in a little bit aggressively in bot lane, he actually got punished for that, and he gave up first blood. So it is a very, very scary strat, but you need to be able to execute it well. M5 did invent it, but we'll have to see if they can pull it out properly this game. And they did bait us a little bit. CLG baited us a little bit with that early Malphite. I didn't even give it a second look and just assumed it was going to be top lane. But of course, the Rumble pick up there, and Snoopy is going to bring the rock into the forest, which means just a very, very powerful ganks as soon as he hits level 6. And that could be the downfall of Darian there as well, who has his oranges to be safe in most cases, but you cannot cleanse a knockup. So if that Unstoppable Force hits, it's going to be bad news. Yeah, that's the bad news that Gangplank's going to have down there. If he gets caught out of position, you can be sure a player of Crepo's quality is going to make him punish. He's going to punish him for making that mistake. Obviously, Yellow Pete now has a blue buff, which will excite any Ezreal player, I think, to have a blue buff this early on. You can spam to your heart's content, and he should be keeping up nicely with that CS. Actually, 17, and there is a flash from Alistair. Snoopy's here as well, and Darian is in all kinds of troubles now. His flash isn't up, and they are going to keep chasing in. There goes the wheel, as I love to call it, the shard, and there is the finisher from Yellow Pete with Ezreal, who will now go 2 for 0. And this is the start that Moscow 5, in my opinion, couldn't let CLG have. They switched the lanes around. They had that 2v1 bottom lane. For me, Darian made a horrible mistake teleporting in there when Alistair was around and only needed to get behind him, headbutting backwards in the lane, and then knock him up with a pulverize. I mean, there's not a lot of Gangplank's going to be able to do to escape that in the best of times.
At the meantime, Diamondprox spent a long time waiting for a gank opportunity in top lane, but Wicked is playing very, very safely. When he does eat a snowball W combo from Genja and Gozo, he does lose a lot of health, but he is still safe. He still has 1 potion to burn through, so Wicked isn't doing too badly when almost stopping the blue pill there. And Froggen is taking his first Wraith Camp, so maybe we should start counting those Wraith Camps to see who is winning that mid lane, according to the pre-game banter.
Yeah, Froggen said, if you missed that one and have only just tuned in, Froggen basically said to lane against Alex Siege, what he does is takes lots of Wraith Camps. Yes. And Alex saying, well, then I'll just have to take more Wolves, which it wouldn't surprise me to see at all in this game. Down in the bottom, Yellow Pete has now come back in, picked himself a ward, couple of pots, and he can constantly pressure Darian down now. The CS in that bottom lane, 36 to 21, so we can see it is starting to fall behind. If we look at the opposite side of things, Cognor 42 CS to the 16 of Rumble. So you can probably say that Moscow 5 on that top side are actually doing a better job of things.
Darian only needs to stay in the game in bot lane. As long as he doesn't get completely taken out of the game, it's still an advantage. And like this, he is taken completely out of the game. Still does not have his flashback up. He actually does, but he's probably not going to be using it because... Oh no, there it is. It was literally a second from coming off cooldown. And
one thing I really don't understand is why he's not warding. Why has he got no wards there whatsoever? You have to play it safely. Like you say, you've just got to stay in the game in a 2v1 lane like that. That's the whole point of it for the single player against two, just to stay alive, get as much farm as you can, and then rely on that later game stuff to help you out. And for me, he's playing a little bit recklessly. That first teleport in to give away first blood, that kill wasn't really necessary after he died and gone back. A ward should have been in position, in my opinion. Wasn't quite there, and that will beat 3-0. But aside from the 3-0 scoreline, all 3 kills are on Ezreal, and he's gone straight in for this BF sword. So this Ezreal is going to be even more of a bully to Gangplank.
Darian is playing very aggressively, very greedily in that he did not take that early ward, but that's something that these pro players do. They find the tiniest things they can shave off, and he thought he could be safe. I mean, he does have his oranges and everything, and he just miscalculated there. He does have a ward with him right now, which I hope he's going to place. So far, he's not done so yet. Gosu has not been roaming too much. Actually, he's been staying in the lane, and I think that's a bit of a credit to Wicked, who still showed himself to be at least somewhat of a danger there in that lane, so that Gozo couldn't quite go and roam wherever he wanted. But Wicked is, of course, he is now 30 to 54, so he's about 24 CS behind. It's not going too well. Darian has placed does not place this ward, but there is a ward near Dragon, and they're actually going in on him. Pulverize hits the 2-shot barrage hit. He uses his ultimate to just barely escape. Ultimate and Flash are going to keep him safe, but no, says Karthus, who has an R button that I forgot about. Oh, wow.
This is a bit of one of those facepalm games where you're like, this idea is really great in theory, but in practice it doesn't quite work out the way that Moscow 5 were looking for this one. And Darian basically is just going to be really annoyed right now, and that's never a good position to be in any game. Once you start to take a beating, like Simon, actually Froggen going aggressive here onto Alex, got him in the wall. Landed a couple of layaways, but not too much to write home about. Wicked in the top lane is, just staying safe. He's doing what Darian has been trying to do in this bottom lane with better results, at least up until now. Obviously, now that Genja is level 6, actually, we are going to see Unstoppable Force. There's the Nunu ulti coming down. I'm not sure that Gosu Pepper can really get away from this one. Snoopy will be slowed completely, and CLG decide, you know what, let's not make the same mistake. Let's not go too aggressive. And here we are down at the bottom once again. We are seeing the push in onto Darian. There's Alex Ich coming in. Darian is going to die again to Yellow Pete. Alex has come in. Snoopy, will he get away from this one? No, he won't. Finished off diving in. That's a double kill for Alex Ich.
Wow.
And that is going to be the lifeline that they've got. Froggen is stealing away the Wraith camps over on Alex's side of the map. And you know that Froggen's just laughing right now as he's taking them away, knowing that Alex Ich is going to come back to find them gone. But Yellow Pete is 4-0-1, sat on 1,000 gold, 3.8 in total, which is 1,800 more than Darian, and didn't quite see Cogmores, but more.
It is 1,200 more than Kog'Maw right now. The only little silver lining there for M5 is that Darian at this point is not really worth a lot of money anymore. He's 0-5-0, so...
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, that is pretty good. M5 are going for a 10-minute dragon right now, and CLG were all just in base. They might be trying to rush in there. Froggen is coming in with a wall of pain, hitting Alex Ich, but the dragon is going to go to M5. Yep, there is the smite from Diamond Procs, and they're not going to engage after that, which is exactly the right choice. If you have the advantage, pull out, be safe, and bank the advantage and build it up further.
CLG now actually pushing into this mid turret. Darian ulti is going to go down, but they don't seem to be too worried about that one. Yellow Pete actually will take a turret hit. There's the ultimates coming out from Cogmore as well, which actually Yellow Pete did take one of them. And CLG, for me, I'm not sure if they want to try and counter this dragon takedown with trying to push this first middle turret down. They are sticking around for a fairly long time. Finally, we will see Ezreal go back, and they've started to ward a little bit better as well. There's one ward down there in the tri-bush. Still not one actually in the lane, but you know that's a little bit safer because there's one up by the dragon pit as well. So Darian should be safer, unless he ends up getting into a 1v1 with Ezreal, which he will lose badly.
During the time that Rumble spent, and we're going to keep an eye on Rumble because Gosu is coming in there for a snowball, but Snoop is just around the corner as well. And there's the Unstoppable Force actually knocking Gosu up into the air, and that should be a very, very dead Nunu bot right there. Yep, he tries to juke a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. And there is the Ezreal ultimate coming as well. Wow. Krepo is also in top lane, so they may want to dive Genja. Genja has not seen Krepo quite yet, and Ezreal is just very, very happy battling against Darian there by himself. Of course, the Unstoppable Force is not going to be available. They're not going to need it. There is the Equalizer going down onto Genja. There's not much Genja can do. Headbutt Pulverize hits perfectly, but Wicked is going to fall to Diamond there under the turret. So it's a 1-for-1 exchange. Not too bad, but they did take out an AD carry there. And in bot lane, actually, we see Darian. Oh, what was it? Oh, Froggen almost died as well. We saw Darian go aggressive onto Yellow Pete, which was a little bit surprising, but nothing coming out of that one.
That was so good. Nicely played by Froggen to actually stay alive. And now they're actually pushing down onto Alex Ich, who's, I think, going to try and take down Froggen at the end of things anyway. He's going to push around this backside, try and get himself in there. There is Froggen, and there's the flash. Actually, he's going to miss the first hit, but the towers are already coming in, and there is the kill anyway for Froggen, and he shuts down Ahri.
And but on the other hand, Ahri did get an assist for the Gangplank, which is a two-edged sword because now Gangplank is worth money again.
Yeah.
that could be troublesome. I'm not quite sure why Darian was playing so aggressively against Yellow Pete. That just confused me there. Rumble was falling a little bit behind Darian. He's about 20 CS behind right now. But it, of course, doesn't matter as much as the Ezreal being so very fired. There's the Pulverize coming in from Krepo onto Gozu. Diamond is just around the corner as well. And there's the Absolute Zero. Krepo headbutts him out of that one. Snoop falling pretty low, but they do not want to dive this right now. They don't know how nearby Karthus is. And of course, Karthus is always everywhere as long as his ultimate is up, which it currently is.
Yeah, decided not to actually use that one earlier on. He felt that Alex wasn't low enough to justify putting that one in. Darian now back into lane, working up towards that Trinity Force. He'll have himself Sheen finished here shortly. In terms of the CS, Froggen in middle, 134 to 91. That's a big lead for Froggen on Karthus. Also 2-1-0 compared to 3-1-0. And in terms of gold, that equates to not a whole lot. about 70, 80 gold between the two of them. Obviously, top lane Rumble 121, 51 CS, a little bit behind in terms of CS over Gangplank, but we don't need to mention that Gangplank has in fact died 5 times and completely fed the Ezreal, which is not something they were had in their game plan, I'm sure, coming into this. I don't think that Darian has spotted the cow either. I don't think that ward was still there. I think it timed out before Crepo actually started to work his way, and he's waiting for him to step out, but I think Crepo thought that Gangplank knew he was there, which was not the case. Now Darian is going to back himself away, and that should mean that he stays safe, at least for now. In fact, yeah, he's going home. Wants to get himself a little bit itemed up. Looks like we could be seeing a dive here onto Wicked, who's going to step off his turret. Needs to clear out these minions as quickly as he possibly can, because these champions need to be taking turret hits. Here they come in onto Wicked. Is he going to go down? He puts the ultimate in there. Who is tanking the turret? Actually, it's Diamond. Wicked will go down. Genji got hit there in the end as well. Ezreal ultimate is going to come across, which will miss actually everything, including the minions. But that's another kill in the bag for Moscow 5. This game not out of their reach by now.
Absolutely not. Yellow Pete is going to be very, very scary, but they're doing good stuff there in top lane as well. And if Rumble is shut down, then the double AP strat from CLG is not going to work as nicely as it normally would. And we see once again the early penetration build coming out of Wicked here, who says that there is so much base damage, like Jad pointed out, on Rumble's abilities, that you can just go for that early penetration and be a pretty big menace. So he doesn't have that many really expensive items that he wants, but he basically wants the boots and the haunting guys, and he has that, and probably an Abyssal after that as well. I know there's a little bit of negative synergy between Abyssal and haunting guys, but he doesn't really care that much about it. Karth is, of course, going to go for his rod into Death Cap all the time. The Deathfire Grasp is built on Alex, which makes that Ahri even more scary. She's already a super bursty champion, and with the Deathfire Grasp that does percentage damage based on your full health, she can just burst people down very quickly, especially people like Wicked, who are a little bit behind right now in where they'd normally be in their build.
And we are seeing the wards going down for Dragon as well, which I can't quite see. 1654 Dragon is up, so that's in just a few seconds.
Yeah.
My eyes aren't good enough to see on our preview. I have to turn around to look on the big screen behind me. And Dragon is there available. CLG have started to come down as well. The question is, who's going to take that first footstep out into the open? There is a ward there off at the side, which CLG can't quite see with the pink ward. There it is, Dragon pulled out. There goes the wall of pain in onto Darian, who, you know, he's not really the target that they want. He's not really a high valuable kill at this stage of the game. Dragon will reset, and we'll see them both duke once again for position. There goes another pink ward. That's what CLG were looking for. Clear out that vision that Moscow 5 had over them. I see that, you know, that's not cheap. That's 2 pink wards right next to each other there. Ezreal is currently inside of middle. Well, they will adjust this one around. There goes the ulti over the top from Genji. That will reveal Wicked's position. But for me, Moscow 5 have somewhat given up the positional advantage that they had there on that Dragon. There's the ultimate used by Shyvana to actually escape her predicament from Wicked. And CLG, I think, with that, are going to say, well, that's one ultimate down. Charm was recently used by Ahri. Maybe this is the chance to get in there and steal this Dragon away as quickly as possible, especially when they've got Yellow Pete in, who's going to be chunking that damage away with the Bloodthirster already built up. And here we go. They're going to focus in onto Wicked, who's managed to survive. He is burning from the Ignite. Diamond going very low. Snoop is low as well. Wicked is still there around the side. Genji's going to come in and really start to clean up, as Yellow Pete will be finished off as well. Wicked was taken out, and Crepo now is surely going to fall victim to them as well. That kill will be given over to Gangplank. Here comes the ultimate from Karthus. Not going to be picking up kills for him though. And that is a 4 for 2 for Moscow 5. And just shows you that you can get so far ahead of these guys and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. They can still come back.
I really thought that Moscow 5 shouldn't have engaged there. The Ezreal ultimate also hit both Shyvana, same ending, Shyvana and Kog'Maw earlier in the forest, so they also took a chunk of damage there, but they still went in, and what it came down to was Moscow 5, the second that Yellow Pete stepped a little bit too far forward, they just, with laser precision, switched their focus on him. They knew, yep, now he's far enough ahead to kill him. Let's go, you know, see hero, kill hero. And once the enemy AD was taken out of this fight, especially the super fed, now 413 enemy AD was taken out of the fight, they just knew they had the advantage. Kog'Maw was still there, and Ari was still jumping around, still doing a lot of poke damage. He could still kite people to death. CLG.eu, Joe, I feel, will have to go into siege mode if this happens again. I mean, they still have a bit of an advantage, but they will have to start dragging the game out. But then again, as we all like to say all day long, there is no better team in the world at dragging a game out to late game than CLG.eu.
Yeah, and we've seen them dragging out games where they were so far behind that it looked like a bit of a lost cause to even drag it out rather than surrender. But we all know what happened to that game.
That game became legend.
Let's not go down that route. At least for now, we're only 20 minutes in and we've not seen a Baron yet. That was somewhat of a different story the last time. The thing, in my opinion here, where Moscow 5 in that last fight, picking up kills left, right and centre, really gained was with the Kog'Maw. He managed to get those 2 low HP guys down. I think took Crepo down as well. Put himself at 3-1-3. Now got that BF sword, double Doran's Blade, Berserker Reefs. Compared over to Ezreal, who obviously had this flying start. Bloodthirst to finish. Phage also completed now as well. So going to be working up towards the to that Trinity Force. The thing is, when we start to move into this later game, which of these trades is really going to pay off, and for which team? Actually, we may see this invade up at top. No, we won't. A ward goes straight in on top of them. Moscow 5 say, hello, Snoopy. I knew you were there.
Yeah, and Snoopy was going to have to back off. Snoopy is building 2 GP10s in his jungle, and I'm not entirely sure what he's going to be building next, but he's definitely building super defensively, which is, of course, what you want to do on Malphite. He probably wants to build quite a bit of armor, because it's good for his passive. And Kog'Maw is scary, but remember that Kog'Maw does a lot of magic damage. Ari is super scary this game, and Darien, well, no offense, but not the scariest champion on Moscow 5 right at this moment.
Not yet.
Not yet. They may want to actually build a little bit more magic resistance. We do see the Negatron Cloak. He does build the Glacial Shroud, the direction of Frozen Heart. Alex Ish was spotted there copiously, a lot of pings going down onto him. And I think Alex Ish is going to be the focus here of CLG in that next fight, because, I mean, if they get Kog'Maw, sure, yes, Kog'Maw would be the better person to focus, but he is going to be safer, and Alex Ish will have to jump in with his ultimate to do his full damage potential. And Snooper is there in top lane again, trying to go for the kill onto Gozu or Genja maybe. And we see Ari actually falling very, very low there. He picks up the kill onto Yellow Pete, but gets killed by Frog. And in return, and in top lane, everything's picking up as well. Genja goes down very, very quick. There comes the equalizer to slow down Gozu, and Gozu should not survive. The CLG should be able to dive this tower easily enough. There comes actually the Absolute Zero and the Shyvana ultimate coming in. But the Karthus ultimate is going to pick up Gozu. Darien has now teleported in as well, and he has to slow down on Crepo. So Crepo is not going anywhere. And that was actually nicely turned around, turned into a 3v3 exchange. If you count the kill onto Alex in mid lane as well. So a very even exchange on something that looked like a expertly executed tower dive in the first second there.
Yeah, but everything's not what it seems at first look. If it looks too good to be true, chances are it probably is. And Moscow 5 did a great job of waiting. We saw Shyvana wait until they moved right in onto the turret, until the turret had started attacking a couple of times, dove in with the ultimate. We saw the insta teleport then from Gangplank up into this top lane. If he'd have had his ulti, he could have probably bagged them all from that one as well. Getting them with the slow plus that damage as well. And that leaves us at 13-12, and look at the gold. Look at the gold. After all that's happened, 32.4 to 32.5, and it's ticking almost even every second. Karthus does have that extra advantage here. He's done a fantastic job here as Froggen to farm. The thing is, Baron has been done. It's at half HP. There goes the ultimate from Ezreal. They're going to have to start to peel off. Alex actually was the first to try and get in there and causing some problems. Gosu actually down to half HP. Karthus is going to get in the middle. Gosu is going to die. Genja is exhausted as they flash towards the back, but they're pinned in there on the Baron that's still alive. Baron is going to be taken down. And well, it does go to Moscow 5, but there is the Quadra. Can he get the pentakill? No. Snoopy.
So close.
My God.
Scumbag.
There's always one in every team.
Yep, so close. But brilliantly played. Yes, they did get the Baron, but they're not going to have the Baron on any one of them. It was well played there from M5. They stopped attacking Baron once Snoopy got into smite range, but still they were very, very low. 3 men of them had been hit by the Ezreal ultimate. Baron was still pounding on them, and CLG, what can I say, perfectly executed there. Unstoppable Force not even used. Snoopy still holding onto that spell, didn't need it. And Froggen just backing them up against the wall into that Baron pit.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't use Unstoppable Force just to steal that pentakill. kill away.
He didn't need to. He knew he could steal like
Scumbag
that.
Snoopy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, these things happen. Rather take it away than risk him escaping it.
Of course.
And that gives it back over once again to CLG. Froggen, who you ban his bird out, and he's like, well, I'll just take Karthus then.
Yeah.
10-1-1. That's a magnificent scoreline.
Yeah.
Rod of Ages into that death cap. Got the blasting one in Cage's lucky pick as well. And things. They started to look like they were turning around, giving Moscow 5 that bit of a chance. CLG are still giving away some of these global objectives, though.
Yeah.
Dragon is possibly going to be taken at least by Moscow 5. They are pushing in. Here comes the ultimate out, actually, from Karthus. They want to fight this one. Crepo is going to go down very low. Looks like he may even end up surviving somehow. No, he stepped into Gangplank's ulti, which was not what he was aiming for. Diamond Prox is going to go down. Gosu Pepper's in there. He's actually going to use the ultimate. Not getting the full channel off there onto Yellow Pete. Rumble going to ulti in as well. Snoopy has used that unstoppable force. Will slow him down with the shard. Can they get the finishing hits? Yes, they will. It's Wicked that takes him right on the tower. And that will be 20-14, a 1,200 gold lead, and CLG are going to take tower number 4 here. The inner turret in the bottom lane. They've already taken the inner turret in that middle lane. Top lane is still intact, but CLG, from a position where it looked like they could end up dropping the game here that had been in their favor, they've made sure that they've kind of put their foot in the door and said, hang on a minute, you're not coming back in this one.
I like the early aggressive Karthus ultimate to start off that fight. Karthus ultimate and Ezreal ultimate went through 3 of them, and at that point it was like, they used to be full health, now they're all half health, let's fight. This looks pretty good for us. A couple of interesting things are happening actually. Gangplank decided to pick up an Aegis, freeing up Nunu to go for the Zeke's Herald. So we have the 2 really strong, useful aura support items, but on 2 champions. And somehow Darian has managed to farm up, and he is almost 60 CS ahead of Wicked. Joe, it's almost like you called it.
Yeah, I mean, he's sat back there and he's farmed. That's the thing that you can do when you fall behind and you've got teleport.
Yeah,
He can literally move around wherever he wants and make sure that he just sticks into his lane and does the job that he, will have been looking to do a little bit earlier on in the game, but unfortunately couldn't. Snoopy at the moment is starting off his blue buff. I imagine going to go on to Karthus unless he actually has one from that last fight where he cleaned up. Yeah, he still does. So that will go over in the end to the jungler, unless even Ezreal came in to steal that one.
Yeah, and it looks like they may find Gosu now. Actually, the Unstoppable Force goes in there, but Diamond Prox is just around the corner as well. Ezreal is there now as well. And the very good head by Pulverize and an Equalizer going straight across the tri-bush. That is Gosu dead. Crepo and Yellow Pete are still chasing. Genja is very, very low. They should probably just pick up this turret, but Crepo is out for blood. He gets the Pulverize combo, and Karthus presses the R button. That's all he needed to do. Oh, nice arcane shift away from the last second from the passive there. Yellow Pete not taking any damage here, and it's looking so good for CLG right now.
That was so well played from Crepo as well. I don't know if you noticed, but he popped the Shirelias to get right in on top of him. Managed to land that combo, and that set it up perfectly for Yellow Pete to come in as well, but more importantly, for Froggen to get his 11th kill of this game. 11-1-2 currently. Does have the Deathfire Grasp now, added on top of his Rabadons and a Rod of Ages. So, CLG in a commanding position. It's still 3,000 gold, which is not a position that you can't come back from anyway. The question is, will CLG make the the mistake that Moscow 5 made last time, which was to be too passive? Have they got the poke to push things down? You'd think so with that Karthus in there with the Ezreal, who got a nice bit of early feed as well. And you can see that M5 are managing to keep them away, but keeping away only lasts so long with that Baron that's going to be up in, wait, let me turn around once again, 30-30. So yeah, in 3 minutes time, or in 2 minutes time if I could actually count things. Moscow 5 need to be prepared for this one. They need to be ready. They need to have that vision down, which currently they do have. Those wards in 4 important positions on their side and over on the top side are warded. But CLG, they may try to come in from a different side. Alex Itch actually there in the middle may get flanked from CLG. In fact, they're going to go for Gangplank, which is the easier of the 2 to lock down. Certainly not easy to lock an Ahri down in that kind of position. And they are going to come up this Gangplank from every angle. Darian starts to run back as Yellow Pete will come in around the side. Here's Froggen, uses the Deathfire Grasp, and that is another kill for Froggen. 12-1-2. absolutely on fire at this point, and CLG looking like they just want to push this lane straight out. Moscow 5 may get their second tower of the game. We've got Genja in that top lane currently pushing it. There he is, will take that one down. CLG are actually, by the looks of things, just going to tank up this inhibitor turret, just switching the aggro there until those minions get in position. Alex Itch actually getting hit by the wall of pain. Are they going to go for the fight? I'm assuming they want to take this turret out first. They will start to move in. Unstoppable Force comes out from Snoopy. He falls pretty quickly, but there's the Karthus ulti. Gosu Pepper will drop. Can they get in to finish more? It's Yellow Pete that's done all the damage there, and he's done enough to force them back on towards the fountain for the heal. And there is the first inhibitor of the game going over to CLG. Shirelli's actually popped there to get out of range, which didn't really get used to its fullest since they all just ported straight back.
Yeah. It's looking really, really good for CLG right now. And M5 are traditionally not considered a strong late-game team. Oh, Krepo's recall just barely interrupted that. They may actually get a kill on Krepo. He doesn't even have an Oracles at the moment. I don't know if that's really the biggest deal, but you know, why not? Let's get a free kill. Krepo is feeling rather nice today and is giving just free kills to them. But at this point, CLG, you have to say, if you look at the goal, it's 2k gold ahead, right? That doesn't look like much at all, but it is going to be very, very hard for M5 to do anything. They need to decisively win a Baron fight here or something like that. Something they are setting up for now, and they do have Krepo down, so that's a lot of CC that CLG currently don't have. But CLG are just around the corner. The Unstoppable Force and Equalizer are not back. Neither is the Karthus ultimate actually. And there is the ultimate from Gangplank. Darien going in on this. Gets a slowdown on Yellow Pete, but Yellow Pete jumps away. Froggen gets chunked right away. Froggen is taken out of the fight. Let's see if they can get out of the AoE before they die. No, Diamond Prox is going to go down to Froggen there post-mortally, so to speak. But that is still a great pickup. At 13-2-3, Froggen is definitely somebody you want to take out of the game. And M5 can just heal up maybe and just immediately go for Baron again before Froggen is back. This kind of thing is what they need to come back into the game, Joe, but they need this times 10.
Yeah, and it kind of surprised me as well that Moscow 5 went in that particular occasion, that position, because, you know, those kind of narrow corridors in the jungle is where Karthus is like, ooh, this is pentakill territory. You know, you've got your Defile on there, your Layways, even when you're dead, they're all coming out, and it's harder to miss them, I think it is, to actually hit them in that kind of position. But they got him out early, which is what they wanted, and then they escaped from that situation and stopped CLG from actually pushing in there behind them. So Dragon is available, Baron is obviously back as well. First, it's going to be Dragon taken down by CLG. By that time, they will have Froggen back with them. Krepo, obviously, who was taken out earlier on, has already respawned and is back up in this middle lane around with Snoopy. And you can see that Froggen is headed straight over towards Baron. Got the elixirs on there as well, currently. And they've just picked up a second Shirelli's Reverie as well on Snoopy. So that's a good 6 seconds per minute of 40% speed boost that they have. Which is, you know, not to be scoffed at in my opinion, especially when over on the other side, not a single Shirelli's, which makes it harder to chase them, harder to get away from them in the long run. So Baron is there. This Oracle on Krepo, he didn't actually go over the 1 or 2 wards that were actually there from Moscow 5. The problem that they have is that Ari is top lane, and I think once they realize that, CLG are actually going to go straight in there. They've got these wards in the back of that Baron pit. We see their Wicked just pulling it, but they're scared. They don't want to go in just yet. They've got that ward down, so they know Diamond Prox's position. They know that they can't technically afford to really start this one off. They've got Alex's position. This is one of those moments where they think, do we go straight in? What do we do? Do we dive over the wall and try and take him out? The ping's going off left, right, and center. All of CLG are there. All of Moscow 5 are there. This could very well decide how this game is going to go. Oh yeah, Darien's had to go back because of the super minions. That is the cue that they needed. Actually, the first Nexus turret does go down. I completely missed that, and I think Moscow 5 did for a good while as well. And CLG have done a great job in you know, running that course out, knowing that Moscow 5 would have to back away at some point. The problem they have now is that Yellow Pete has lost a little bit of HP. With the Q from Ari and the charm coming over the top. The ultimate actually from Karthus is going to go off, and that's more to force them away and say, well, you either fight with low HP or you give away that Baron right here, right now.
Darien still has his teleport up. There is a very good equalizer actually taking Genja way, way away from damage range. All of CLG is still in a Baron pit, and oh, Alex immediately gets blown up as he jumps in. Diamond is the next target, immediately goes away. Darian has teleported in. I don't think it's gonna work. Froggen has flashed forward now. They try to pick up Genja. Genja still barely staying alive there. Darian is also still alive, but Froggen is going to take this kill. Yes, before actually Yellow Pete did die there. I think that was to the passive from Gangplank, but a great fight for CLG. 3 for 2 the exchange. They don't have enough health left to do Baron, but they're all recalling to run back to Baron as quickly as somehow possible.
Yeah, and Gosu Pepper is now back off towards the base to try and defend from these super minions that are actually coming in there.
And you know what? First 2 Guardian Angels of the game have been built.
Yeah, and they won't be the last 2 if the other games that we've seen today have been anything to go by. Yeah, there's one on Shyvana and one on Ezreal as well.
Darian just built a Chain Rest and a non-magic mantle, and we all know where that goes.
Right now, Baron, of course, is still available. Baron wondering why he's still alive, most probably. And Snoopy will start things off once again, which feels like it's been the 10th time up till now. And I tell you what, Moscow 5 are not in a position to really react to this fast enough. It's already down to half HP, and this is going to be going over to CLG without Moscow 5 even coming around for the sniff. And there is that free Baron pickup. Diamond actually does come down the ramp and then decides, nope, not going to go in there. And in the end, that will mean that CLG secure themselves another goal. It remains, in terms of gold, 2.8k. That's like nothing at this stage.
What we saw there was, of course, a Karthus with blue buff, and that guy just eats Baron for breakfast so very quickly. And I believe M5 knew this was happening, but honestly, what were they going to do? They're probably going to wait until they have all their Guardian Angels farmed up and then try again. And actually, that may not be such a bad strategy after all. They have a couple of champions that are really good at kiting and cleaning up. Ari, for instance. Darian on his Gangplank is really good at that as well. But CLG may just be able to force such a strong win that they always outnumber the person who comes back with the Guardian Angel. And that's, of course, something to look at when the person with Guardian Angel goes down. Basically, what that is a stun that makes you untargetable for a couple of seconds, and you know exactly where that person's going to come back and also exactly when they're going to come back. So if you're ready for them, you can just switch them off again. So the only time that the Guardian Angel strat really works is when a team fight is sufficiently even, and I'm not quite sure that M5 can get an even team fight out of CLG right now, especially if Froggen keeps doing what he's been doing so far, which is just to ulti early in the team fight to get their health down before the fight even starts.
No, and Snoopy's done a great job of being, diving into the right position when it comes to that unstoppable force. They know that they can't let Genja sit at the back and hammer away with that Kog'Maw. They know that they need to target him fairly early on in that team fight. Inhibitor has respawned. CLG are starting to push their way into that one as well. Yellow Pete, obviously the one that's going to be taking that down quickest. Alex Siege over on the side doing good damage as well, but looks like CLG just looking for that perfect opportunity. There is the slow bar down, and Genja knocked down to half HP in just a couple of hits, and that's the kind of start to a fight that CLG will probably take any day of the week if they could get into that right position. There is the inhibitor going down. Will they switch straight away to this middle lane? Well, not exactly straight away, because the minion wave is pushed up completely on the other side. There goes a wall of pain once again. Alex Siege gets hit with that single lay waste, and you can see how much damage it's doing, a quarter of his HP already. And that's just not a nice place to be with that Karthus having the blue buff on, having the Baron buff on as well. And now Moscow 5, they're off into their jungle. I'm not sure if they really want to be trying to protect any of the jungle at this stage. More of a case of turtling into their base and waiting for this Baron to go before they even think about doing anything else. Yellow Pete will steal a Moscow 5 red buff away. Darian just getting off his Q off as often as possible, just trying to chip down the health of these CLG players for the time that they really need it come this next big team fight. Minions are starting to come in. They are going to start to work their way off towards the turret. It's not got much health left. Yellow Pete getting in there for those sneaky shots here and there just to finish things off, which is something that Moscow 5 failed to do against CLG. so many times in that legendary game. But here we go. We are going to see them diving. And now, well, Froggen does go down instantly. Alex will go down. There's the Randuin's Omen. Absolute zero from Gosu Pepper. Not going to do all that much. Yellow Pete is still in there. Will get the kill. His Guardian Angel will go off. There goes the kill onto Shyvana as well. Gosu Pepper's not going to escape. And that will be 4 out of 5 taken down. CLG going to take the second inhibitor in the base as well. And they may just push through. Let's not forget that the Super Minions took down the first Nexus turret. So there's only one standing between them and that bare Nexus. They may even go for that final kill on Genja. Note they're going to focus straight in onto the Nexus. And CLG are going to take down Moscow 5 in another brilliant, brilliant encounter between these two teams. And that's going to put them 2 for 0 in the group stage. And, well, Moscow 5, they're still not through. They're still not safe in this tournament.
They could still lose this. They still have to face Ocelot World, and I think that's probably the game that we're going to stream next.
Yeah.
Let me just say this, Joe. M5 basically showing, CLG basically showing M5, this is what you should have done in DreamHack. Yeah. This is how you push an advantage home. And what a game. I mean, CLG are looking so very, very strong. They took a little time at first to defeat Ocelot World, but they did do it in the end, and it seemed that there's a kill switch in CLG. When they reach a certain part of the game, it's like, yep, now is the time we want to go in and kill everything. It looked really, really strong against M5 here again, and what can I say? CLG are probably going to make it out of this group. They still have to fight against Elohel, and it could still be a, couldn't it be still be a triple 2-0?
It depends on the other game.
Yes, which we don't know yet.
I'm not 100% sure. So we are going to pass it down onto the stage and have an interview with, I have no idea who, but it's going to be a surprise.
Okay. So we're back. Big round of applause, please, for CLG Europe. We've got Jaws here from Riot to interview one of the CLG heroes of the match. Take it away, Jaws.
Yeah, we've got Crepo, the support player for CLG.eu. Now, Crepo, when you guys started this match, did you think you were going to be laning with Yellow Pete against a teleport gangplank bottom?
We saw oh, fuck.
Okay, let's reboot this. Let's restart. From scratch, Jaws. This never happened.
So, Crepo, when you were picking bottom lane, that Alistar Ezreal, did you think you were going to be going against a gangplank with teleport bottom lane?
Spodziewaliście się, wybierając właśnie bota, że przeciwnicy wybiorą gangplanka?
We remember Moscow 5 running a similar strategy like half a year ago when they played Gangplank with teleport and then take a buff level 1 and then use that to lane. That's why we warded our blue buff to see if they will steal that. So they tried to counter jungle at the start as well. So we predicted that, and we knew they were starting probably his blue buff going into bot lane. And we got kind of lucky though. He teleported. At the moment I was level 2, so he teleported right into pulverized headbutt, and he instantly gave first bot, and that kind of gave us the momentum to carry through early game.
Tak więc trochę długa wypowiedź do tłumaczenia, ale wiedzieli, że czego mogą się spodziewać, bo Moscow 5 grało podobną strategię jakieś pół roku wcześniej, więc wiedzieli, czego się spodziewać. Bardzo uważali na dżunglę z uwagi na to, że blue mogło być kradzione, ale mieli szczęście, bo Gangplank wyteleportował się raz w jedno z zaklęć CLG i po prostu to dało im pierwszego killa i dało im tempo na resztę meczu.
Now, you mentioned First Blood really being a turning point where you could build that advantage. However, it really seemed like it was a close match the entire way through. Moscow 5 putting up a heck of a fight. What do you think was the real big turning point in that match?
Który moment z meczu, w ciągu meczu był kluczowy?
I think it's pretty much late game hitting. We had a really good team fight combo. They had a really strong Kog'Maw, but since he has no innate escapes, Malphite ulti takes him down. We have Card as well to engage with, and we have the Rumble ulti to follow up. So the later we get into the game, the better our combo gets. The only issue was early game and their strategy, but having the bot lane dominance and being able to freeze bot lane really get Ezreal a good feed as well. So yeah, basically late game hitting without having too much losses is what got us ahead, and we kind of snowballed from that.
Także sens tej wypowiedzi jest troszeczkę zbyt długa, żebym w całości tłumaczył, ale sens tej wypowiedzi jest taki, że CLG miało lepszy zestaw na dłuższą metę i po prostu nieodniesienie obrażeń zbyt wielu do tego momentu właśnie dało im sukces, że po prostu mieli w późniejszym etapie meczu lepszy zestaw postaci.
Well, congratulations and best of luck in the rest of the tournament.
Jeszcze raz wielkie brawa. So guys, now we're gonna go into a short trailer break, and after that we will go with more games from this tournament.
Tactical Decision Summoner.